Welcome back to the Chasing Tone podcast. Of course, I'm Brian, back with Blake Weiland again. And today we talk about headstock tuners. Do they make you look, a little silly when you're gigging out with them? We talk about that. We talk about going off the grid. I was off the grid completely this week, and it was great, totally fantastic. We talk about dad rock outfits. Some people say not a big deal. Some people say it is a big deal whenever you're rocking your khakis at the gig. And then we talk about a pedal rental service and so much more, so let's jump right into that.
Hi, Brian.
Hello.
What's going on?
I actually just got back from a long camping trip with my son.
That sounds like a good time.
It was. We rented a boat for a couple days, went down to a lake here in Indiana called Patoka Lake. Mm-hmm. If you're from Indiana, southern Indiana, you probably know of it. And we proceeded to go fishing quite a bit.
Very nice.
We went swimming, and then we went tubing. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That sounds actually awesome.
Well, I actually completely... hold on, let me back up. Let me back the train up a little bit. We stayed at some cabins, okay? Mm-hmm. Like log cabin type stuff.
Right.
And it had no internet. It had no television. It had very little phone signal. So basically, I was completely off the grid for like 3 days. And it was fantastic.
I was going to say, that sounds pretty appealing, actually.
It was absolutely fantastic. It's been amazing until I opened up my inbox in Outlook this morning. And then I'm like, oh, no. I've got 4,000 emails.
Well, your first mistake is using Outlook, but we won't talk about that later. No, this is actually, we weren't going to talk about this at all, but I just had a very similar conversation with the home skillet Scott over at Stringjoy. Mm-hmm. And he gets, you wouldn't believe the amount of emails he gets because, you sell in strings. In order to make that work, you got to sell a lot of strings.
Right.
And so they're very customer focused over there, and they want to make sure everybody's taken care of. So he gets a ton of emails.
Oh, I bet.
And I'm always like, is it worth like like you said, going off the grid for a few days to, just kind of get away from it all and decompress? And he's like, yes, except I come back and my inbox is just, it's digital, but yet somehow still overflowing into real life. It's just like crazy. So the question I was going to say to you, I said, is it worth it? And he's like, yes and no. And he kind of had obvious, reasons for that explanation. Is it worth completely unplugging for just a little bit? Is the decompression worth the kind of big stress of all those, things you got to respond to when you get back?
I think so, man. I think so because, well, with me to really go completely off the grid, you couldn't even call me. Like I was supposed to be a guest on another podcast on Wednesday, and I had to tell them I can't even call in. There is no phone for me to call. I'd have to write a letter in for the podcast, so this is not going to work. But completely getting away from everything is, at least for me, is kind of like a reset button. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of need that every now and then where I just completely, absolutely 100% get away from everything. Don't look at my phone. Don't look at anything for a small period of time. And it kind of resets stuff for me. So, and yeah, there are emails that, I do get a lot of things in the inbox, but hopefully if it's like a hot fire and I haven't answered within, 2 or 3 days, someone will send me a follow-up email that says, hey, are you there?
Right.
And I can be like, oops, sorry, I missed it. Sorry. Because mistakes do happen, and I'm only one guy, and my email inbox is only mine. So it's not like there's a team of people looking through my email, all trying to answer it. So, yeah, I think it's worth it. For the peace of mind. For the peace of mind.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I think the bads definitely are not outweighed by the goods. In fact, last year when I went to Nashville, I didn't go for NAMM. I just went for a family vacation. I just kind of made it public. I was like, look, everybody, I'm not really going to be checking my stuff that much. Like I will maybe once or twice, but I'm not going to be checking on stuff.
Right.
I am too, I'm pretty focused on it, a lot of the time, and it's like I don't want to be focused on it for right now. I just want to throw it in the drawer, and I want to look at this, well, it wasn't totally unrelated because it was Nashville, but it was like I want to look at these guitar players playing guitar and go see the Johnny Cash Museum and not worry about my messages and that stuff.
Tell the truth. You're like, all I want to do is walk around town in my boots and my cowboy hat and blend in like real Nashville natives.
I wonder, I feel like I blended in pretty good, except I gotta wear shorts.
Which is not what Nashville natives wear. But anyways, no, you can always tell it's kind of a joke that, well, it's not so much this way now that country music has changed into pop. But, several years ago, back when I was going back and forth in Nashville, it was pretty common for like every tourist would like show up in like cowboy boots and a hat, and and you're like, you could pick out the tourists very quickly because they're the only ones that were dressing like Garth Brooks, like seriously, like the flamed shirts or whatever he used to wear, like like that's what people would wear. You had a guy come to town with a guitar case dressed like Garth Brooks, and he's like, "I'm here to make a name for myself."
That's right.
They call me Chester the guitar player. And
they call me Luke Bryan. Oh, wait a second. Come to think of it, I don't know if I've ever seen that guy play guitar. I'm not saying that he doesn't, but
no,
I don't know if I've
he has
seen
a guitar. He has one. Yeah, he
owns a guitar.
He owns guitars. Yeah, yeah.
Oh well. With that said, 6 minutes in, this is a new record. We can get to some sort of topic that isn't making fun of Luke Bryan, marketing, or general life discussion, and I think we're going to do it at 7 minutes. 7 minutes in. Let's hit on one of them topics there.
I read on the education system. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Oh, yeah. So I got one for you.
Okay.
You ever, well, you play some gigs, right?
No, not really.
Are there like open jams or anything like that where you're out there in Portlandia?
There definitely are. I don't go to them though.
Okay.
I don't know. I like writing and I like the studio, and that's good enough for me. So I don't really go to any gigs. I understand how they operate, and I've been to them as an audience member many times, though.
Right.
So I understand. I guess, and I should be said I have played live like a decent amount of times. I understand how it works.
Right, but you're not hanging out at the local VFW on the weekends with your Luke Bryan cover band.
Not a chance.
Right. Okay. So there's, at least here in Indiana, that's like we've talked about this before. Most of the bands are cover bands, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of like little small bar restaurant type clubs that have bands, and you're generally playing cover songs. I'm sorry, you're generally playing like top 40 country songs, right? Maybe some Skinner and stuff like that thrown in, and Brown Eyed Girl, of course. Mm-hmm. And it's somewhat common to see the guy with the the headstock tuner at the end of his $6,000 Paul Reed Smith guitar.
The good old snark.
The good old snark tuner on the end. And I've even seen some pro players, do gigs with one of them at the end. And I get it. It's easy, it's quick, and you don't have to take up pedal board space. But there's something to be said about the sexiness, or I should say the lack of sexiness in rocking, the custom Telecaster with the snark tuner on the end.
Let me tell you, I'm with you 100%. I love the headstock tuner. I love it. I think it's a fantastic piece of gear. I use it all the time. As soon as I'm done tuning, it comes right off because I don't want to look at it. And that is purely, there's nothing functional. There's nothing, there's no technical reason why I would want that or why I would prefer that. I just don't like looking at it. The same reason I wouldn't want same reason I wouldn't want the star-shaped guitar. Can't even think of some stupid guitar that, same reason I wouldn't want certain guitars.
Right. Well,
Like,
it's hard to be on stage rocking like Dawkins whenever you've got one of those snark tuners or a tuner on. You know what I mean? Like, it's just you kind of lose the cool factor. And this is me talking about the cool factor, so take that with a big grain of salt. But I mean, do kind of lose kind of the cool factor. Like me, and you've seen my videos to know that I'm quirky enough. I probably, if I was going to do that, I probably would load up the entire headstock with like 10 of those.
Yeah, and a capo, and like...
and when someone's like, what are all those tuners for? That way I can just say something like, I really like being in tune. It's really important to me.
It's really important to me that I stay in tune. I just thought of something. I joked about having a capo on there, and I just revealed something about myself that I didn't know. I don't really care as much about the capo on the headstock. Like, if you have a couple songs that require... Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not a super talented guitar player, so sometimes I need a capo. Jeez.
No, I do it too. It's easier.
There's some very anti-capo people out there, but
there are.
There are a few songs that I'm playing that require a capo. I'm okay with it being on the headstock. I prefer to have anything that's going to clip on the guitar temporarily. I like to have it on the mic stand myself, but that's just me. It's there in front of me. It's just as easy to get to, and it doesn't look quite as goofy.
Right. I think there's a big culture thing. So I know that on the Wampler Tone group on Facebook, at one time there was this thread about what you wear to gig, right? And so like all us 40-year-old dudes were like, I don't know, let's wear some khaki shorts and some sort of shirt, And of course, like that's not cool stage attire, right? Like if you're playing with George Lynch on stage, you're probably not wearing khaki shorts, Or
you don't think that George Lynch does the dad rock?
I don't think he does the dad rock. I don't think he does. No. In fact, I know he doesn't. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I guess it is kind of in that same vein. I'm kind of weird. In that if I could wear what I wanted to wear all the time, it would be the same thing that I would wear on stage if I was, some sort of rock and roll star. I like t-shirts and I like jeans. But ironically, I spend most of my time, because I run so hot, I'm just wearing shorts all the time. So I'm kind of dad rocking it myself more often than not. Of course, they're gym shorts just because like that's what I have. But
yeah, see, that's me in a nutshell. No, I don't do that when I gig, but yeah, my normal attire is basically gym shorts or gym pants, like running pants or something. And I think it's the new sweatpants for dads.
I think it is. I think you're right about that.
So,
of course, I've been wearing these for a lot longer than I've been a dad, but
yeah, but I mean, I work by myself most of the time, and so I really don't care what people think. So actually, but even when I had an office full of people, someone Travis used to joke and be like, dude, you wear like running pants every day. and I said, it's something like, if Steve Jobs can wear jeans and a black shirt every day, I can wear running pants every day.
It's true.
That's my excuse. It's my calling card. It's just it's my personal style or lack of.
It's funny, though, that you mentioned that, because like every time we've actually got to meet in person, you've not been wearing.
Well, it's because it's always at NAMS. So at NAMS, I have to dress up into khaki shorts or
you have to dress up into jeans and a t-shirt.
Or jeans. Yeah, literally, jeans is dressing up for me. Yeah.
No, I understand.
My kids will actually tell me, like, if there's a school function, they'll be like, Dad, you got to wear like jeans or something at this, right? And I'm like, I don't gotta do nothing.
I'm the dad. I don't have to do anything.
You want me to, but I don't gotta do it. I don't know how we got here.
I don't either. I thought we said we were going to be on topic.
Right. So we were talking about how headstock tuners are considered not cool by some, and then we just went off on a tangent on how everything else that wasn't cool.
Right. Well, I guess on that same token,
except for void reverb pedals.
Oh, you gotta love the Void.
You love those things.
I'm gonna take this here Strymon and throw it in the garbage and put this Void on there.
So you've seen the video on Facebook then about
I have
about the loving boyfriend and loving girlfriend, I guess, or maybe they're married or something, where she just continues to buy him pedals. And he's like, "Oh, baby, oh, you're the best girlfriend ever. Oh, my God, what'd I do to deserve you?" Woo! Like seriously. And then he's like,
it's really that obnoxious.
It really is. And he's like, "I'm going to take this Strymon off and put this $49 reverb in its place right now. Because I've been wanting this for so long." Yeah, I don't think it's
so common. I mean, like,
now I'll give it this. It got millions and millions and millions and millions of views.
Yes. Okay. Let me back up. Mm-hmm. We should probably explain ourselves a little more clearly. I didn't know we were going to talk about this, although we've been talking about it for 2 weeks.
It's just funny. We got to look. You know, I actually want to hear from people in the audience. Have you seen this video about the dude and the girl, and she's giving him all these pedals for his birthday throughout the day, and they're all branded Void pedals?
No, well, no,
that's what
that was the
says.
Reverb. They're branded, and that was the thing about the video is you couldn't. It felt like a marketing video, mm-hmm. Like it felt like it wasn't quite genuine, but yet you never really seen the brand. But the Void Reverb stuck out. I think it was, but I did some digging, and the brand is Deadbeat Audio.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was Void pedals or something like that. I never could find anything about them, but
yeah, it's Deadbeat Audio.
Gotcha.
We're just giving them free press right now.
No, that's fine. They can have all the press they want. It's on Amazon if you're curious. Look up what'd you say? Deadbeat Audio, Dead Audio. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you'll see it right there. And you can probably Google for a link for the video. It literally got like 20 bazillion views or something.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because like I seen it a couple of times, and you asked me if I'd seen it, and then, but like I don't know. It felt really weird because like okay, let's reverse engineer the situation, right?
So to me, just to pause for a second, to me, like mm-hmm. all the housewives were like, "I wish our relationship was like this." That was their comment within the video, and
mm-hmm.
all the dudes who actually play gear were like, "Fake, no way, fake."
And it was because he was literally freaking out about a pedal that's relatively attainable. And right behind him, he's got this majestic board of just all the best and finest that we know of. You know, I can't even remember what was all on it, but it had a lot of
had 3 Strymons on it. I know at least, yeah. An original Klon, you know, like all this stuff. And he's like, "But I love me this $49 reverb."
Right. It's like I don't think that's. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can't.
We're
sounding really like jerks right now because like if my wife surprised me with a $49 reverb pedal, I'd actually would be super stoked.
No, that'd be a very cool thing to do. I think
I would be like, "You knew what a reverb pedal was, and that I love them. This is amazing."
But let's be honest. If your wife really knew you, which she does, or you guys will be married, she would know that you're particular about pedals. And so women are smarter than us guys. Let's just face it. I mean,
it's true.
I don't know if it's you, but if it wasn't for my wife, I probably would have woke up with got dressed with 2 different socks on. I probably would have had one leg and 2 different pairs of pants, you know, and like
one khaki shorts and one gym pants.
Right. And not even noticed, you know what I mean? You know, I'd have brushed my teeth with the toilet bowl brush, that sort of thing. So like, let's just get that out of the way. We're pretty stupid guys in general, for the most part. Like,
or at least Brian and I.
Yes, at least me. So if my wife knowing, you know, she knows me better than anyone, so she would like probably look through my browser history or something and see what pedals I'm looking at, or you know, now that Facebook and Google's tracking everything, she would just open up a Google page and see what ads come up. You know, and then it, you know, because all the retargeting stuff, it basically keeps showing you things you've looked at before, right? Mm-hmm. So she would see that, and she'd be like, "Wow, he's looking at a lot of Wampler stuff. That's weird," you know.
He must really want one of those Wampler pedals. I better order him one.
I should buy one of those for him right now,
Yeah.
even though he's got like 40,000 of them. Anyways, so I think your wife would know you better than to say, you know what Blake needs is I'm just going to randomly get this pedal that I've never heard of and that he's never mentioned.
Probably, but I think we're probably anomalies, though, to be perfectly honest. Like, there's a lot of gear nerds out there, but there's not a whole bunch of super gear nerds like
That's true. That's true.
So I think there's a lot of guys that like they have a really nice like decked out pedal board, but they don't have a like you have shelves and I have a cabinet. I don't think that's normal. I think that is our weirdness.
Well, that's
actually
true,
I know that's not normal. I shouldn't say I don't think. I'm not trying to justify our obsessions.
But if we were quote unquote normal guitar players, we would probably just buy the cheapest multi-effect unit we could find, or an amp that already has all the effects in it, or not even an amp at all and just plug through the computer, right? I mean, that's
no. I think there's a middle ground there. Even amongst the gear nerd community, I think we're on the extreme side. I would say. I don't think that there's not very many guys that even have like multiple boards.
Really?
Let alone a storage space.
Yeah, everybody I speak to has storage of pedals.
Oh, well, that's because you talk to me and industry guys.
I'm also looking at people on the Tone group who
There are a few.
So there are a few who are just like getting their first one or two. So I'll give you that.
I think there's a lot of guys that have one pedal board and they rotate through things. They'll get a new one, they'll flip something on Reverb, and then they'll take that pedal off. There's a lot of guys that do that.
Yeah, that's true. There probably is a lot more of that. Yeah.
There's not guys that just hoard. We're the hoarders. Hashtag we are the hoarders.
I guess you could call me that. I mean, to be really honest, though, most of the pedals that I have are actually like old versions of my pedals and prototypes. That's 80% of them.
Well, yeah, that's a little different.
So, yeah, and I got to. But I mean, like, as far as, I want to say it was Josh Scott, JHS.
He's on the extreme side. The guy's got like 8 clones.
Yeah, I thought he had like a gigantic amount of pedals, basically. And I think Jamie from Earthquaker's the same way, just tons and tons of old pedals they love. But, they're not getting rid of stuff as they buy new things, No,
and that's what I say. I think all of those guys, and I think, well, yeah, and myself included to some degree, like, we're the extreme example.
Right.
Like, that's the most... We're such gearheads. We love this stuff so much that we decided we had to... In order to justify our ongoing obsession, we had to start a business revolving around it.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I'm sitting here looking around me thinking, in this one room I'm in, and I've got another storage room, I think there's like 20 amps in here.
That's what I'm saying, man. We're weird.
Oh my gosh!
I've got a lot of stuff.
I need to get. Yeah, I need to declutter, man. I need to get rid of some stuff I'm not using. Like there's 12 speaker cabinets I'm not using.
You've been trying to sell me that orange for like a year.
I do have that orange. It's calling your name, man. That rocker verb. It's a rocker verb 100 or 50. I forget.
I think it's a 50.
I think it's a 50.
Man, I want it really
dude,
bad.
you would love this rocker verb. It just screams Blake. Every time I play it, it just tells me Blake would really love me. It really would.
I might have to take you up on that. I really want it, but I'm trying to be good. I've really tried to be good this year. I've done okay, but I haven't done great. But I've done better than last year. So I guess that's a step in the right direction.
You know what amps I'm starting to get into? Speaking of amps, I won't go too far off topic, but
it's too late. There isn't a topic.
Had a buddy of mine. You may know him, Chris Presley, who maybe you don't know him. He lives here in town near Travis and I. and he's kind of a gear dude. He loves his gear as well. He came over to borrow a few pedals, which is one of the handy things about living in the same town as me, I guess, is that you can be like, "Hey, Brian, I got a gig tonight. Can I borrow some stuff?" And I'm like, "Sure."
Yep.
That's not an invitation for everyone to email me and ask if they can borrow stuff. But so I do that for friends. I loan them some stuff. I'm like Pedal Genie without a profit. Because I do it for free. Oh, speaking of going off topic yet again, I think it's Pedal Genie. There's a couple of those services that do the rent-to-own pedals or the pedal rental thing, right?
Yeah, there's Pedal Genie was kind of the first one. Sound Parcel was one that came along, and I'm not just saying this because they sponsored my podcast a couple times, but they seem to have more like off-the-wall stuff.
Really?
Yeah, and so like I actually I haven't tried Pedal Genie, but I actually did try Sound Parcel, and it was really cool. They made me feel like I was back in elementary school to some degree, because they sent out like this little library card with all the names of the people who had the pedal before you on it. It was kind of fun.
Cool. That's cool.
Anyway,
you're like, John Mayer's had this. Awesome. No, so anyways, the reason I bring that up is because there was a thread on Instagram where it was a sponsored post, and I know some people don't like the sponsored posts. I like them because I like to see what people are doing. But anyways, it was one of the pedal rental places, and I forget which one. I'm sorry, whoever this is, but and people were like, "That's stupid. Why would you ever rent a pedal?" And to me, it like totally made sense, because you're never going to watch any YouTube video ever that's going to give you any sort of realistic idea of what that pedal sounds like with your guitar, with your rig, and with your hands. It's just not going to happen. So like to me, like the perfect idea is totally renting a pedal for a month or two and seeing if you dig it. And if you do, then buy it permanently, because a lot of these places you can then buy the pedal off of if you want to keep it, I think. But yeah, like that's a fantastic idea to me, I think.
Well, and then a lot of them too, I think, like if you end up liking it, one, that pedal is kind of used a lot of the times, unless they sent you a brand new one, which does happen. I think a lot of them like take that into account, and they're also take into account the fact that you paid to rent it, and I believe they'll like roll it into the purchase price. So it's like, why not?
You left the microphone while I was talking, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
I exactly just said that exact same thing.
You did?
I did. Blake, tell the truth. Did I bore you? Am I boring you, Blake? Do I need to stop talking? You know what? I'm done with this podcast.
Oh, sorry. Were we podcasting?
Oh, anyways,
no.
Yes,
you roboted on me a few times, and I was trying to pretend that you didn't.
I roboted on you.
The Skype, it'll like.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was one of us had a bad connection, and I was like, I'm just gonna roll with it. I think.
I'm sorry.
I think I know what he's saying.
We said the same thing basically. So that makes sense. So we said the same thing. You just said it more eloquently than me.
Okay. Well, hey Bob, you can do whatever you want with that. Cut out some section or just leave it in there. I was like, I don't know what he's saying, but I think we're talking about pedal rentals. I'm just going to, put on my professional podcasting hat and be like, yeah, and this and that too. That didn't work. And
that's how Slash saved Christmas.
Thanks, Slash. Much appreciated.
Okay, so anyways, that's all I got for headstock tuners.
Wow. This is quite the episode. This is quite. What were we saying earlier? We're like, man, we got some really good topics. I think we can actually really deliver, a solid cast on this one. And it's just like, no, khaki shorts and headstock tuners and pedal rental services,
and Dead Rock outfits.
Dead Rock. Yeah, we got to be able to do better than that.
Why break our streak? Why break our streak?
Well, that's true.
All right, so let's close this out with the business segment of the podcast.
Okay, yes, if we're really gonna get down on it, let's talk about how you can use retargeting ads to build your email list.
I haven't done that. I'd be glad to hear what you've done here.
Oh, you want to talk about it off the air?
Hey, this is we do what you want to do. I'm using some retargeting stuff, but not for building email lists necessarily.
No, and that's kind of a more in depth, and I really don't think that most people probably care about that for this particular.
No, every musician out there needs to know how to use retargeting ads to build their email list.
Well, if they're trying to be professionals, I would say yes, that's true.
But not everyone is. Maybe some people just like to know how the pedal business works. You know, maybe
currently nobody in the pedal business is doing that. So, which I'm trying to fix.
No, I think that's great. I think this really applies to musicians as well. And we've talked about that before. How being a musician, getting your music out there, you really need to look at it like you're an entrepreneur, right?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Like two equal parts. Like there's the artist side and there's the businessman side, and you kind of need both to make anything happen. So I think it's very important to understand what retargeting is, and how, and really sit down and think about how you could use it for your craft, your art, your music, whatever. Mm-hmm. And and think of that business side. You should be growing an email list.
You should be, yes.
You should be growing
the right people, though. You don't want to just buy a bunch of black hat garbage. That's not good.
Right.
You want to get people who are interested.
Yeah, by an email list, that does not mean that you want a bunch of people. Like you want to, but like you said, you don't want to buy a list of people that you can email.
Which isn't technically legal anyway. But
right. But if you build up an audience of people that love what you do, and you just build it up a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, pretty soon you have this group of people that love your music or that love whatever you do. Maybe you do sidewalk chalk or art or something like that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And, they love what you do. And then you can say, hey, look, here's this cool thing I did. Or maybe you're like, hey, I'm giving out 50 free copies of our new CD we just printed,
Mm-hmm.
And
any number of things you could do.
Yeah, there's a million things you can do. So there you go.
It's just an easy way to communicate the thing you're doing with the people who are interested.
Very much so. Yes. So even if you got, and I've even talked to local bands who are, like I always use the VFW reference because that's what we have here. So you're playing the local bar or whatever, and you're trying to grow a following. You could still utilize those same things. You could still grow an email list around people who might want to come see your band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I mean, even diving into more like Facebook ads and stuff. I mean, there's so many things you can do. Yes. All in the comfort of your own khaki shorts.
Exactly.
That can drive, the people who want to hear your stuff to your stuff because they don't, they don't know it's out there unless, think about artists that you really like and then you find out that they were in your town like a week ago. And you're like, I missed that show. Man, I would have totally went to that if I would have known about it.
Right.
And so there you go. That's one way to let people know what you got going on.
I think that's much more effective than putting an ad in the paper or a radio spot.
Oh, definitely.
I mean,
and
if
cheaper.
if I was Luke Bryan and I was coming to Indianapolis, I would totally be not hitting them up literally, but as far as targeting, 20 to 25-year-old college chicks, probably 22 to 25-year-old college chicks, and Luke Bryan.
It's kind of creepy considering he's like 47.
Well, no, but that's like his base audience, right? Maybe 22 to 28. Isn't it pretty much more of a female-based thing? But I mean, you get dudes that come because their girlfriends are going, so the guys go too. But I think it's pretty much the college age women who are going to Luke. At least here, whenever I've been to a Luke Bryan concert, that's basically what it is. Is a bunch of college kids.
I would imagine so.
And some of us older farts in the audience going, that don't sound like country. But anyways, I would be targeting people that were into that in that town, and you can target in that town.
Yep.
So, anyways.
and those audiences are relatively affordable to target because it's in that town. how many Luke Bryan or Eagles or whatever band you are.
Right.
And you've probably seen it. Like, I've seen it a couple times. Like, I see a Green Day ad going around once in a while. Green Day's coming to Portland. Like, of course they're targeting me.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yes. I'm surprised that every band doesn't do that. Literally surprised.
So, some of them have. I'm wondering if they have the same like management team or something, because Roger Waters did the same thing to me recently, specifically. Like, Roger Waters coming to Portland, and it was like I seen that ad like 7 times. I'm sure there's many artists with like good marketing teams behind them that are utilizing that stuff. I'm sure there are. But the thing is, you don't have to have a good marketing team behind you. You can do it yourself.
Yes.
You just have to know what you're looking at.
Yeah, you can Google things and find out how to do this if you're looking to grow your audience for your next Luke Bryan cover gig.
Yes. Brian Wampler covers all the Luke Bryan hits right in Martinsville, Indiana. Come down to the VFW.
Brian will be with his acoustic and his snark tuner.
And his dad shorts.
All right, Blake, until next week, appreciate it. Thanks for participating.
Bye-bye.
And thanks so much for listening to the Chasing Tone podcast. I really appreciate it. If you have any comments or questions, you can always email me at podcast@wamplerpedals.com. You can email Blake at info@tonemob.com. So thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.